Well, like you said, starting the show off with Danielson versus Rocky Romero. I loved how the commentator team threw it all back to their history
Yeah.
of where they started training. This is my first time, I have to admit, seeing Rocky in the ring. And it was interesting on paper to see what was going on with OC and the best friends.
Yeah.
And so we saw how that all tied in as well. But I enjoyed this match. I mean, a lot of, technical wrestling going on, a lot of grapples, a lot of a great blend of styles with these two
A little
going
bit of
toe to toe as
everything.
well. But ultimately, Danielson prevailing as well. I mean, this guy has been, showing to be this Iron Man in the ring, and the announcers have said it. A guy with, a million ways to beat you, and hyping it up him for that match, the big match at Full Gear versus Miro. So, what is your thoughts on Rocky's performance before I get your take on Bryan Danielson's?
Well, I mean, he held his own. I mean, this guy's a veteran. He's been in the business for 20 years, He went in there, showed his stuff. The only other match he ever had in AEW was against JD Drake back on Dark earlier in the year. So this is his first real exposure in AEW TV, and it was a great start. If he's going to be around for a long time, that'll be awesome. He
Sure.
he really held his own against Danielson. Obviously, they have a long history together, so it was a fun match. Kind of fast paced. Honestly, it was a roughly 15-minute match started the show, but it didn't feel like that. He held his own with Danielson, but Danielson obviously is just in a different level right now, and I wasn't really ever concerned about that. Especially going into this match he has with Miro, which we saw a little bit of that tonight as well later in the show. But overall, man, this was easy elite. Start off the show like that. I know we're not doing that anymore, but this is the definition of an elite match. And it wasn't the match of the night, but it was up there. It was really good start to finish.
Oh, of course. And, the crowd was hot for not only most of these matches, but just good wrestling. And,
Oh
they had
yeah,
a chant earlier on and like, this is wrestling. I believe that they were chanting that versus the Pac and Dax match.
yeah.
But the crowd was definitely fire for this one. And it's just a showcase of the talent level in here. And
Hmm.
I keep saying it time and time again. It's just, I can't believe how much Bryan Danielson is working. And it's one of those like niches that work every time. And like, he starts the show, gets the crowd going, and delivers these just amazing clinics
Yeah,
of wrestling technical matches, and we're not seeing the five moves out of one guy. We're seeing a totally different matches with totally different styles. So I'm all for it. Keep it going.
yeah.
And now when we see, him versus Miro, it's going to be very interesting. And, as we've let it digest a little, you still feel the same way about how the result is going to happen. Miro giving Bryan Danielson his first loss and moving on to the newly crowned Hangman.
I think that it would make for a more interesting story with Hangman, but
Right.
I think it could go either way. I'm not confident in either pick in that match. I think they could do. I think Miro would be a swerve just because of Nate Danielson's name value, but they've done a good
Sure.
job protecting him since he's been
Of course
the
they have.
Redeemer,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't be surprised if it goes either way.
I, yeah.
Especially like you can't really feel bad about losing to a guy like Miro if you're Danielson either. If that's his first loss, that's a good first loss. It's not
Oh, for sure.
a random, match on Dynamite. It's a pay-per-view against a guy who's been presented as an absolute machine. So I think that their styles are going to go really well together. It's not going to be like oil and water. I think they're going to be able to utilize each other's strengths and weaknesses. It's going to be great, and I'm so excited for that match. We weren't going to get that match at Full Gear because of Miro originally wasn't in this competition, but I
Right.
think it all worked out in a way that we can all be really excited about that match.
Dang right. We were
Yeah,
so curious of how Miro was going to be booked after that loss to Sammy Guevara, and I think like he's not going to be missing a beat. Even if he does take a loss at the pay per view, I still think the way he cuts these promos is so compelling and so captivating, and
yeah.
really on a whole nother level with the stuff he does.